Welcome back once again. This is the LCL finals. We are up for game 4 in the series. Vega is leading 2-1. Will we see the Silver Scrapes, the full-on 5 games in the series, or it's gonna be a quick 3-1 in favor of Vega? This is once again Faik Short Aliyev and my bro, literally from the same mother, Emil Pu Aliyev. We're ready to jump in the draft of the 4th game. Vega Squadron is once again on the blue side, and we see the adaptation from Unicorns of Love.
Elise ban.
They ban away Elise.
Yep, and they skipped their Syndra ban for that, or Karthus ban. They have to whoa.
So they skipped the Renekton. I mean, they have to ban Renekton. They skipped the Karthus, something that has been banned away from Gadget all the time, season long.
Maybe he didn't practice it because it was always banned against him. That's the point.
Maybe Unicorns are hoping that Vega won't go for the first pick Karthus.
First pick Syndra.
And they can pick Karthus for themselves in the jungle.
Aatrox Gragas right now to take away Gragas from Creox like they were doing. And right now he doesn't have his Elise up since it's banned, so maybe that's a good choice. Ooh. No, it's gonna be Aatrox.
Aatrox seems like a more stable pick in this scenario. Should be locked in at any moment. Yes, it does get locked in by Unicorns of Love. And right now they go for
Game
Xayah.
2 repeat.
Yes, the Game 2 repeat with the Xayah. Last time, they didn't pick Rakan.
Yeah, they picked Gragas.
They picked Gragas as the 3rd pick. And that was probably a mistake because you don't want to separate the loving duo of the bot lane. Usually, just because they're stronger together, why would you want to mess it up? And Karthus is locked in for Vega Squadron. So this is Syndra Karthus, something that Vega Squadron in their previous iteration used in the matches of MSI, actually, during the spring.
And they won against Flash Wolves with Karthus and Tahm Kench. Or it was Karthus Pike maybe, or Karthus Thresh. Well, there was Karthus bot lane.
Yes.
I remember. And Flash Wolves began to ban it away and won 3 games in a row, and right now it's open. And Gadget will play it. Lover duo for Unicorns of Love, just like you said. What are the bans? What are the bans?
So first of all, good adaptation from Unicorns of Love to get the Rakan for themselves, not to let it get banned away by Vega Squadron in the 2nd ban rotation. This lane should be heavily favored for Xayah and Rakan. They should be more aggressive, and Karthus is just going to be looking to get as much farm as he wants. So the first ban of the 2nd rotation is going to be Camille. Okay.
Yeah,
Something not that typical.
Yeah, I guess it's a ban for safer laning phase for Aatrox. Plus we already see AP champions on Vega side. Maybe
they need AD, that's for sure.
Yes,
but there's still Gnar, GP opened up for Vega Squadron to pick it up. And I mean, you can get a GP in order to, you know, set up even more global pressure from the side of Vega Squadron.
You know what I think? I think Camille is a ban because of her split push. Vega has tools to help split push her, like Karthus R, Tahm Kench R. He can follow like Camille, for example. So they're banning kind of split push AD champions. So Vega can play 1-3-1, for example.
That's true, but there's still the 1-3-1 possibility because you can go Gnar and still be a split pusher. I mean, yes, Kled works insanely good, insanely well into Aatrox, and at the same time, he's an AD split pusher, something that they're looking for. But Gnar can fill up the same niche, I would say, for Vega Squadron, and even Kassadin is banned away from Nomans, which is kind of weird. But I'm a hater of this champion, so I'm not going to be judging. So you have to pick jungle here, I assume, because you want to keep the flex of Aatrox, or you can go Vladimir Putin. This time it's Vlad, which makes more sense into Syndra. We know this matchup, I mean, Syndra pushes early on, but then she just runs out of mana. He has the sustain. She cannot ulti him, really, unless she basically buffers the animation of ultimate with the stun, which is kind of hard to do. So we already have a very strong team fighting compositions for Unicorns of Love with the Aatrox, with the Vladimir, with the Zyra Khan combo. On the other side, we see that Krex is going to be playing Jarvan, yet another jungler in his pool. And what's going to be the pick for top lane? Gnar? To have the
seems
Narvan
nice.
combo?
Yeah, Gnar seems okay. What else Doxy has? Jace?
GP? Jace?
Jax? No way. No way! That's an interesting pick.
Yes way, Vega Squadron says, and picks up the Jaximus for the top lane. Another good answer into Aatrox because he outscales him greatly. It's another split pusher that we are looking for. Yes, he's not completely AD. He does a lot of hybrid damage. But how about you counter the split push
With Nocturne.
with Nocturne? No, it's going to be Kha'Zix actually for Unicorns of Love. Another actually good counter to split push because of the assassin mechanics. It's not the Kha'Zix that we used to know and love, and love is of course exaggerated. I would say mostly hate with his old ultimate when he was invisible and he was getting the buffs of the ultimate whenever he walked into the brush, which allowed him to rotate around the map very, very quickly. This is not the same Kha'Zix, but he still poses a threat to anyone who wants to go solo.
Yeah, and I think that Kha'Zix actually works pretty well into Jax because he can R away when Jax uses his E. Also, his Q isolated doesn't care about
Counter-Strike,
dodging.
yeah.
Yes,
That's for sure. That's for sure. But once again, with the Vega Squadron setup, we look a lot to play around top lane, right? We have Karthus, Tahm Kench in the bot lane. It's all about farming. It's all about getting the CS, scaling up, and helping your team with the global ultimate, with the Requiem. And this means that Unicorns of Love are kind of in a pickle where they have to choose what they do. They can try to pressure the Karthus, Tahm Kench and the bot lane with the help of the jungler. They can dive them, I'd say. Or they can try to answer the aggression because they're not going to have priority in the mid lane for quite some time.
I think they don't even need jungler on bot lane to pressure bot. I think they need to know where Jarvan is, basically. And
yeah.
they can win 2v2 really easily.
They can win 2v2, they can get the plates for themselves. On the other hand, if the game goes on, I feel like Vega Squadron has no problems scaling up this time around. They'll have a clear tank, but we will talk about this later because we're ready. We are in the Summoner's Rift. This is the fourth game of the LCL Finals. Vega Squadron. Edward actually knocked up Santos, and Anasik is trying to follow up his support, but Santos is just gonna waddle away, and he's gonna be fine. They do place a ward on the enemy red, but this is gonna be it. I feel like Santos was prepared for this invade. I mean, that's what we're used to see that from Rakan. He can jump over the wall, set up a position for his team, wait for the W to come back off of cooldown and do some nasty stuff in the backline. Anyway,
Red trinket from Kreox.
Red trinket again, once again from Kreox. He's gonna clear that ward, no problems. I'm actually surprised to see Conqueror on Jarvan in this scenario because there are no tanks on Unicorns of Love side. They're not gonna itemize into armor because they're dealing with double AP with Karthus and Syndra. And Jax also does hybrid damage as well as true damage from the Conqueror. So yeah, so if Vega Squadron scales up, they have a very good front line because they have Jarvan, Tahm Kench, and they have a lot of pressure coming in from their solo lanes. Actually, Nomans is gonna get flashed on by Kreox, and he has to flash away immediately, and Nomans loses his flash this way. Kreox once again playing really aggressively. That's not something that we have seen from him. He's gonna find an Anasik here. An Anasik, he's not gonna get knocked up, but I don't think he can fight Kreox right now.
Especially with Conqueror.
Boss is not going to be able to help because he's losing in terms of levels, and that means that Ananasik has to back. This is a terrible start, and he's going to get interrupted with the Demacian standard.
Well, they can't dive, but I think that kind of gives Jarvan access to top side prep.
I mean, he's gonna get his blue side jungle easily now. Ananasik still hasn't recalled yet.
But what worries me is that you already mentioned, yeah, frontline in Jarvan, Tamkench, but on the red side, they have Vladimir, the beast in the late game. And if Jax cannot kill Vladimir, then Vladimir will just run down Karthus and Syndra, I think, with the proper items.
That
What
is
can
true,
they do?
that is true. Okay, Ananasik,
Ooh.
he's gonna jump in onto Kreox. He flashes in.
Kreox
Kreox doesn't
flash.
have the flash, and he just combos away from that pesky little Kha'Zix. Doxy, he's gonna engage onto Boss. Boss didn't hit the first Darkin. The second one is gonna connect. A lot of damage comes onto this Jax. And now Ananasik is gonna get the crab for himself, unless Eka is there to just pick it up and throw it away.
Ooh,
That's mine, says Discoteca. He's gonna throw it.
Ananasik kind of won this crab back, and he'll smite it, of course.
Yes, he's just gonna smite it. That's
Wasted some time.
that's a little bit annoying, but not more than that. Meanwhile, Kreox was able to,
Take bottom scuttle.
yeah, and that's an exchange of scuttles, which is good enough. Good enough.
Okay, everyone is kind of equal, although mid lane is 6 CS ahead, but that's not huge. Also, Vladimir doesn't spend his teleport. He just runs to the lane. So that's nice for the side of Unicorns of Love. Vega has an advantage, 500 gold, actually already. Not much, but still good. And Kreox is out farming the Kha'Zix. Is it unfavorable matchup for Jarvan? Or kind of equal?
I feel like it should be. I may be wrong here, but I feel like Kha'Zix has the Jarvan's number all the time. I mean, early on, very early on, Jarvan can do some damage. If Kha'Zix doesn't dodge the combo, I feel like Kreox can win this exchange. But later on, I think like with every level, Kha'Zix is going to get scarier and scarier. Actually, Ananasik is going to show up in the bot lane, but there is a ward in that bush, so he has to walk away.
Hey, look at the Drake. First Drake is Inferno, and both teams won that Drake. Who has the better, like, 7-8 minute-ish champions? What do you think Doxy is trying to harass Boss a bit?
Right now, Boss is trading equally with his Jax, but we know that with each item, Jax is going to get scarier and scarier. Jax,
Yeah, and Boss went for 2 Doran Blade, so he'll be, like, late to his core items. For example, Doxy is already building Phage, and he'll complete Phage very soon. Ooh,
Ananasik is
Kreox.
going to get knocked up. He doesn't have a flash. He has to use the Void Spikes just to heal up, and that means that Kreox can pick up the Raptor camp of Ananasik. And this is the Rubber Bandit camp, the one that respawned after the first clear, I think, at least.
And Kreox is gonna take
And
Krugs as
Golem.
well.
Krugs are the most important camp. This is the camp that gives more XP, especially when Rubber Bandit, when killed and respawned with the next level. And we see that Doxy is actually slow pushing in the top lane, and Kreox is there to
And
set up a
Syndra
dive.
is
And
there.
Discoteca is coming. He's level 5. Boss has the flash.
started.
There is the dive. The stun connects. The knockup is there, but the damage is not enough. And Discoteca is gonna die to Vladimir's Hemo Plague, and that's the first blood by Unicorns of Love. You thought they were drowning, but they bite back.
Very bad attempt at diving, I think. Doxy could have flashed earlier, and Syndra could have flashed earlier, and I think they would survive it if they both used their summoners correctly. Because Doxy got like 4 tower hits, and then Eka got 2. Kreox is trying to harass Ananasik, but nothing happens. He just backs off.
He backs off, and I think that the Gromp was taken by Ananasik. Kreox actually didn't pick up the Krugs, which is a bad sign. Even Edward roamed up to the top side of the map to help his team, and right now we starting to see problems from the side of Vega Squadron, because that was a failed dive, which shouldn't have happened. I feel like if Discoteca was level 6, that would have been an easy dive.
100%.
But
Or Gadget, level 6.
or Gadget, yes. But that was not meant to be, and that means that Unicorns of Love are actually taking a bit of lead for themselves in this game.
Most important, Vladimir got first blood. And every 100 gold on Vladimir is huge in this game.
I would say that every single gold coin that he gets is huge. And
He's 20 CS ahead.
He's 20 CS ahead in the matchup where he should be 20 CS behind, especially in the very beginning. And he lost the flash early on.
Yes. So mid lane is not going the way Vega wanted. Still, Inferno Drake is on the table, and Herald will spawn in 2 minutes. Right now, teams are just farming. Gadget got Gadget got his level 6, so he has access to his Requiem. So Doxy and Discoteca can search for cheeky trades.
Karthus is actually the champion that enables this style of play when you play over-aggressively, when you go for trades that you normally shouldn't go for because there is the global pressure of the ulti, of the Requiem that can allow Karthus to pick up kills. And also we know that Karthus is someone that is great at taking objectives because Dragon and Nesher are always alone in their pit, like I am in my life. But but I'm happy. I mean, at least I'm not a dragon that is constantly killed in the game. Anyway, Karthus is great at taking the objectives, but Vega Squadron has to be ahead to be able to pull that off. Right now, they have their main problem is in the mid lane because that should not have happened. The fact that Vladimir is so ahead, this is something we don't usually see. Nomans pulls away from the knockup of Creox.
Also, Vladimir already has his key items, 20% CDR, while Eka is playing Lord of the Rings styles with a 3 Doran rings.
I feel like it's a competition between him and Gadget. We see the engage onto Eka. He doesn't have the flash. He's knocked up by Rakan, and it's a second kill for Unicorns of Love. Creox has to run away from that fight, and that means an Inferno that is gonna be taken away by Unicorns of Love.
Yeah, this game feels kind of desperate from the side of Vega right now. I'm not sure that scale game is on their side. It's pretty much... I wouldn't even say equal, to be honest, because I prefer Vladimir Zaya instead of Jackson Karthus, to be honest.
I don't know. I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure because there is going to be the split push threat coming from Doxy. Doxy actually dies while I say that, and Inex is knocked up by Creox. He has the stopwatch right now, and the TP comes in exactly from Boss, who doesn't have the ulti anymore, but it's going to be an Ananasi who jumps in onto Creox. He's getting eaten by Santa's, devoured, but it's not going to be enough. He's still going to get killed by Boss, and also Gadget is killed, but he's going to take an Ananasi with him, and Santa's is just gonna waddle away, and that's still a 2v3 exchange in favor of Unicorns of Love. Boss made it everywhere. He killed Doxy one-on-one in the top lane in an unfavorable matchup, and then he TP'd bot lane to help his team to win a trade there as well. Huge start from Unicorns of Love. A very good momentum that they needed after the 2 games losing streak.
Yeah, and solo lanes from Vega are falling apart this game. Jax dying 1v1 versus Aatrox, who didn't have a good start. He didn't get ganked from Kha'Zix or something. Also, Syndra still behind its CS and behind his O2 versus Vladimir.
Well, yeah, so we see the replay of the gank. Creox used the flash to dodge the Rakan's knock-up, and he was able to ulti Inex. Inex used the stopwatch quite poorly, I would say. Gadget actually flashed in trying to get the kill onto Ananasi. He managed to pick it up with the Requiem, which is, I would say, good enough for Karthus. Usually that's how you play it as a Karthus. Let's see the replay what happened in the top lane. Doxy doesn't have the flash anymore, so he's pulled in by Boss and just annihilated with the Darkin Blades. And Herald was actually picked up by Creox. Yes. Meanwhile, while we were watching the replay, it means that Unicorns of Love are going to pick up the Infernal Drake for themselves. And actually, for Creox, it's very important not to lose this Herald. He wants to give it to Doxy. Gadget. He's going to get engaged on by Edward, and there's an Ananasi, and Gadget is immediately shut down with the burst damage of Kha'Zix. and that means that they can actually get even more turret plates on the bottom side of the map, while Vega Squadron is going to use the Herald to feed Jack some needed gold on top side.
Yeah, but I think in general this trade is worth more for Unicorns of Love side. They got the kill, they got Inferno, which is very important, and they got the same amount of turret platings.
Even more, they actually
Yes.
got one more turret plate in the bottom side of the map. Gadget was in a bad position, let's
And-
put it this way.
Who's gonna do AD damage? In term on the Vega side, they have AP, Tank
Hybrid.
Jarvan with Conqueror and Jax.
Yeah, they don't have that much
They
AD
just
damage.
don't have AD damage.
Normans, he has the ulti.
I think he's just trying to scare them away, and he did that. So they got first tower. Ooh, Doxy uses flashes. Oh, flash on top.
That's a very bad sign when you counter pick the top lane and you end up losing like that. I mean, yes, boss started with the Doran Blades, but now he has his core CDR items as well as Vladimir, which is the Coalfield's Hammer and the Kindle Gem, which means that Jax, even though he picked up the Trinity Force already, he's still trailing behind. He will outscale eventually this Aatrox, but this is he was set back by boss himself, just purely by 1v1. And props to boss after a very questionable game of Gnar. This time around with the Aatrox, he is able to punish Doxy quite severely, I'd say.
Yeah, he got the kill, he got the flash, he got some plates on top lane. He feels pretty comfortable going that Death Dance first item. And I think he's not even needed to his team right now. He can just wave clear Jax and the team with a fed Vladimir, with a fed Rakan, and with kind of nice Kha'Zix. Oh, the play on top lane.
Inax
Yep.
doesn't have flash, so he has to use the Featherstorm to win some
Redemption?
time. The redemption is there. Gadget is gonna kill him anyway, and Nomans has to run away because, ooh, he actually kills Kreox in response, and now Edward comes in. He knocks up Gadget, and he's gonna get assassinated by Ananasik, and he's gonna get the kill onto Discoteca as well. The ulti from Karthus should not be enough, and it's not enough. And that's a 3-for-1 exchange in favor of Unicorns of Love. They are not done with this series.
Yeah, I think we're gonna get game 5. I know it's too early to judge, but this game feels like a very, very Unicorns of Love favor.
I have one word to describe this game if you're a Vega Squadron fan. It's yeesh.
Like that Syndra first pick doesn't work properly this game particular, and I don't think it worked in game 2 as well. Game 2 was more about Yasuo being useless champion, not about Syndra being very useful.
I would say that it wasn't just the fact, like, Syndra was not key to the win in the second game, to be fair.
Yeah,
and Eka was not playing that well. He actually messed up quite
A lot.
like a lot of combos and the positioning. And I was surprised to see that first pick once again in this game. While
It's supposed to be Flex, but then they picked Karthus right away.
immediately.
Yes.
And the flex is broken. And right now we have a small pause, but we're going to be back into the game right now, right here, right now. And we have a 4K goal lead for Unicorns of Love. And yeah, we were arguing about scaling, who's going to be better in late game. But if there is a major goal advantage, I don't think we need to talk about scaling. And we know that Jax needs a lot more time. Whereas if Vladimir just gets 2 items with a Proto Belt, like if he gets basically a Proto Belt and Rabadons or Spellbinder, depending on if he needs something right here, right now, or...
I think with Phase Rush, it's more likely to be Rabadons.
True.
And the thing is that Vladimir, with Zhonya's and his pool, he's not afraid of Syndra or Karthus. Yes.
Or anyone, actually.
And so does Xayah with her R, with her Maul of Malmortius, that will be her item 3rd or 4th. I don't see how time works well with Vega in this particular scenario where they have 2 AP carries versus Vladimir and Xayah.
I felt like with Jax outscaling the Aatrox, they can actually
cheeky
pull
dive.
something off with Tahm Kench. The ulti comes in
Boss
immediately.
has Death Dance. Ooh!
Boss has Death Dance, and now Inax teleports in to help his teammate. Meanwhile, we
Eka
see
is
that
dead again.
Eka is dead again, and now Doxy has to jump away, but it's not gonna be enough. He's gonna die to Boss, and Inax is gonna try to chase Santos. He actually roots him in place. Santos has to flash away.
Boss chase him?
Boss is gonna
Does
chase
he?
him down. Is he gonna have enough? No. He didn't have the flash. He wanted to go for the dash plus the Infernal Chains combo, but it was not meant to be, and it's not needed at all because you don't need to kill Tahm Kench. You can just take the turret. And with Syndra being 0-4-0, we're starting to smell the end of the game, you know?
Yeah, and I think that was a very desperate move to dive Death Dance Aatrox with the Jax and tank Jarvan.
Yeah,
Like,
Jax doesn't
the guy
have the
has-
items
That
right
guy
now.
has Tabis and Death Dance. How do you kill him?
I don't know. Especially with the Jax who doesn't have Executioner's Calling because he fell behind in the lane. He died 1v1, which should not happen. I mean, why didn't you just pick Gnar? Seriously. Ananasic, he gets ulted by Syndra, but there is a good redemption, and Ananasic actually survived the burst because he already has the Hex Drinker, which is going to be instrumental for everyone, basically, except Vladimir
Yeah,
and
Zaya
Rakan.
got Hexdringer already, and Vladimir got his second item, which is
Spellbinder.
Spellbinder. Yes, you were right. So
That's more of like a Spellbinder is cheaper than the Rabadon's Death Cap, but it's less efficient usually. But when you have a lot of stacks on it, you can have even more AP. So basically, this is the power right here, right now. It's like early purchase of Elixir, you know, which seems like we have the Baron coming in 1 minute. It means that Unicorns of Love can force a fight there, and they can do it quite easily because they have the instruments for that. They have the engage, they have the like lots of AoE damage with Vladimir and Zaya.
and they have quite nice Nashers with Kha'Zix. His Q deals a lot of damage if someone is tanking Nasher, plus Zaya with her feathers. So
And Vladimir can tank the damage of Baron. He doesn't need to be the one to deal it.
Unicorns of Love is in the driver's seat this game, and it's about them to throw or not to throw, because 7k lead with the pick that is
Good
I
in the
think,
late game.
Yes, very good in the late game with Zaya Vladimir. It's all about them right now.
That's true, that's true. Ananasic is taking away the wolves. He's not going to get engaged on because he has the jump. He actually evolved the wings. So yeah, I would say that Unicorns of Love are way further than just the driver's seat. I'd say that they're ahead of the train in this game. The Tahm Kench ultimate comes in, but I don't feel like you can protect this tier 2, even just defend the turret. You cannot clear the wave. Another turret falls in favor of Unicorns of Love. That's 5 turrets to 0. And around 20 minutes, we have almost 8k goal lead in favor of Unicorns of Love. Right now, basically, you just need to win one more team fight and finish up the game.
Yeah, get Nashers and then dive with a huge Vladimir. Since no one from Vega Squadron has any magic resist, they only have HP from Trinity on Jax and some HP on Jarvan. That's it. They're very squishy to the side of Vladimir. And Vladimir is building his Rabadons. He already has 350 AP, and that's a lot, considering no one has magic resist. Kha'Zix already finished his Draktar.
We have
Possibly.
the Executioner's Calling on Jax. That's going to
Finally.
change a lot. Kappa. The problem is that the draft of Vega Squadron should have worked differently, just in terms of pressure. Syndra shouldn't have been losing the lane to Vladimir, who was
Flashless Vladimir.
ganked
Yes.
level 1. Okay,
Some
the knockup
engage.
connects on
Maybe
to
Edward
Edward,
dies?
but
No.
he has the shield, and I don't think that the ulti is going to be enough, but he still uses the stopwatch just in case. Better safe than sorry. And Edward survives, and those are the 2 key ultimates from the side of Vega Squadron. This is desperation as we know it. I feel like in the dictionary, next to the word desperation, you could have seen something like using both ults onto the support who has the stopwatch.
Yeah, it's 8k gold already.
So yeah, so my main point was that Vega Squadron lost the early game, the laning phase basically. They were outskilled in a 1v1 scenario in terms of solo lanes. That shouldn't happen.
Yeah, it all started with a dive on top lane.
The
Where
dive
Echo
was-
rotated and died and used his flash.
Yes. The dive was very poorly executed, unfortunately for Vega Squadron, and that was basically the end of this game. Because right now their only hope is that Doxy can outscale boss, but I don't feel like it's possible right now. No matter who scales better, if you are one item ahead, you are just stronger. And that's the case with Aatrox, who has the Death Dance and the Black Cleaver already under his belt. Meanwhile, we see just the Trinity Force and the Executioner's Calling from the side of Jax, and I don't feel that Jaxi on Doxy is gonna see the light of day another time, because it feels like that pick didn't work at all.
Yeah, you could argue that Jax outscales Aatrox on 5-6 items, but he needs like 15-20 more minutes, and that ain't gonna happen. In
No,
the game
I'd say
where you
that
lose-
Jax outscales everyone on 2 items. When you have the Spear of Sojin, then you don't care about who you're dealing with. The only problematic pick can be something like a Vladimir.
Yeah, well, you say outscale and you mean 1v1 scenario,
Yes.
right?
That's the problem, that the 1v1s are not gonna happen, because Unicorns of Love can force 5v fights. They have the engage for it. They don't need boss to constantly deal with Doxy. And right now, Doxy is not even in a position to actually pose any threat on the side lane, because he's losing the 1v1. So the the ulti from Nomans comes in. He's gonna go further. He has the empowered Q, and that's a double kill from Nomans on that Vladimir. He doesn't even need the redemption. He just murders 2 people from Vega Squadron. And now we see the Doxy. He's trying to fight boss, but he just stuns him and runs away, tail between his legs. The Infernal Chase are not gonna connect. The Darkin Blade is not gonna connect as well. But it doesn't matter. That's a Nasher for Unicorns of Love. And looks like we are having a very quick game on our hands here.
Yeah, just like a previous one. First of all, I think that in the pocket of Nomans he has Rabadons, and that's deadly. And they just get Nasher, and all they have to do in this.
Can I correct you quickly? Deadlier, because he's already deadly.
Yeah, true. Yeah, Rabadons, he has
Here we
like
go.
550 AP right now. And what he did in a span of like 6-7 seconds, he can do in 3 already.
Yeah, that was just an ulti on 2 people. He flashes in with the empowered E, and then the Q is enough with a pull to pick up another kill onto Gadget. Gadget is not having the best game, but the main problem is, of course, the Syndra, which was basically baited by Unicorns of Love. They left it open. It felt like from the draft that Unicorns of Love are in dire straits, because they're batting away stuff like Renekton and Elise in the first rotations. But it was not meant to be. I feel like Vega Squadron should have gone for Aatrox as their first pick and maybe let Syndra open and counterpick it with a Vlad of themselves. Anyway, Nomans is stunned. He's gonna get ulted by Krex, but he still has the ulti, and now Rakan tries to come in. Krex unfortunately dies, and Nomans just survives this easily. There is the ulti of Karthus, but it shouldn't be enough even to pick 1 kill. Discoteca barely survives. He limps away from that fight with a sliver of HP, and
Nomans
Unicorns of Love.
Nomans has TP.
Unicorns of Love are gonna be finishing that push, because Nomans, he just backed. No, he actually didn't.
He did.
He did. He just backed. He returned with full HP. He still has the potential to just one-shot someone with the EQ, and that should be the game. Unicorns of Love are coming back, and they're coming back strong. In this game, Vega Squadron looked lost completely on the map. They couldn't do anything.
Yeah, I think they outsmarted themselves in the draft, you know? Picking Syndra, then like, we want to grab more, like, just like Syndra says. They picked Karthus, and they got stuck with a full AP comp, except Jax, who's semi-AP, and Tank Jarvan, who deals no damage, into Vladimir and Zaya.
You know what 050 Syndra tells her teammates? More. I can be so much more.
Yeah, right.
Anyway, This is the game number 4, and we are up for the Silver Scrapes, the full best of 5. We are getting ready for the 5th game. Meanwhile, we'll get a short break, but don't go anywhere.